and welcome to episode 380 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now joining me on today's episode is a returning guest. I spoke to him only a couple of months ago at 2000 Trees, and he's back for his very own episode. On today's episode, I'm joined by the amazing Kid Bookie. I had so much fun last time backstage at 2000 Trees, and he really was the talk of the festival. So many people were talking about how great his performance was, just how much he won the crowd over, and I'm so excited to bring you a great interview, really open, really honest, and that's coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. As always, guys, I just want to say a massive thanks to everyone that keeps supporting this podcast. It means so much to me, and it's great at the moment that I'm bringing everybody so many new episodes of Mark and Me. It's been really hectic. I'm recording so many different interviews, and it's so good to see the response, so thanks so much. My last episode was with the band The Plotting You, that only came out a couple of days ago. A massive thanks to any new listeners that have jumped on board, and thanks to the band for sharing it. But today's episode is all about Kid Bookie. As you're listening to this, his brand new album is out tomorrow, and my God, it's absolutely awesome. I've been raving about it, you'll hear about it on the interview, and I truly urge you all to check it out after you've listened to this interview. So let's get straight to it. Here's me and Kid Bookie talking all things music. So Kid Bookie, welcome back to the Mark and Me podcast.
Thank you for having me again.
It was literally in July. We were sat backstage at 2000 Trees, but I think it's always better if you can do it again, especially when you've got a bit more time and it's not so manic. But how has things been since we last spoke? I suppose it's all about the album now, isn't it, and getting ready for this big launch?
Yeah, man, it's weird. Like, I'm such a low maintenance person that I haven't really noticed that there's a big deal around my project and everyone's doing this and that, because I'm like, oh, but then I was kind of clicked the other day when I was just realizing how much has got to go on and what's happening. I was like, fuck, man, like, this is like, you're kind of at that place you've always wanted to be in. So you really have to approach it in with that kind of, I don't know, rapport per se, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really nice. I listened to it the other day and I really enjoyed it again. Like, I tapped out of it because I've had it for so long. But then listening to it the other day on the drive home from a show, I was like, fuck, man, I'm really proud of this, you know?
How long has it been? Because when I talk to bands, it always blows my mind, especially with stuff like trying to get vinyls pressed at the moment, and even the knockoff from COVID, people still sit on albums for almost 12 months. Has it been a long time since it's been mastered and ready for you?
Yeah, it's weird because I was working on it for a while. I would say I finished the last song last year.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm like so far away in a way from the mood of when I first made this project. But when I listen back to it, it's nice to revisit, you know, the growth and the learning steps of, I guess, you know, that part of my time in the zeitgeist per se, you know.
I find it quite strange because I would want to, if I do an interview with someone, I want to get it out straight away. I couldn't imagine like someone saying, right, now you've done that interview with Kid Bookie, can you release it next August? I'd be like, fucking hell, like, I don't know, I'm impatient, so I don't know. Surely you must have been like, I'm ready now, I want the world to hear it, I'm playing the songs live, I've had some singles out, I just want people to hear it.
Well, I'm an avid releaser.
Yeah.
You know, and when I guess I'm not in when I don't have, you know, contracts, etc., I just release willy-nilly. So that's something I do miss because it's like, you know, there's got, obviously, you know, when there's so much to do with a release, you have to make people want to see it in first. But I also, you know, think that just, you know, there's a magic in chance by just having music connect to the world. And that's all I've kind of that's how I've always done it. That's how I've kind of got here. So
yeah,
I don't ever want to kind of lose that just because there's more people tailoring to you know, the moments. But you've always got to forget that music is like the catalyst to it all. So if you don't have it, you just can't really do anything with it.
I think what really blows my mind about this album is a couple of factors. So the first one is it's not all produced by one person. So most albums you listen to, they go in the studio, they record the album, they find a studio engineer, they get it mixed and mastered, and it sounds pretty similar because it's one guy's work, you know?
Yeah.
With you, you've got to work with 4 or 5 different producers, and I wondered how that feels. Does it feel like it's a whole mixed bag because there's different thought processes involved, there's different minds, there's like an extra dynamic to every sort of recording?
Um, I think everyone's touch just has a different, uh, a different, what's the word per se, a different uniqueness.
Yeah,
But as long as it tells, the story of your identity, whoever touches it just has to be able to be cohesive with your kind of way you work. And I think I have that a lot, especially with who I choose to work with. Most of the people are my friends. And if they're not really like my good friend, it's nice, like you kind of meet in the middle by chatting, having a couple of splits with them and you just, time passing and you see what you like. And then all of a sudden you pick up the guitar and there's a song being made. So, and it's like, it's very symbiotic. So it doesn't, it's just very duality. There's no pulling apart the yin and the yang. It's just straight up in the middle.
it's also you can't predict what the next song's going to sound like. It's a whole mixed bag in a great way. Like it's Kid Bookie because you've heard other tracks, I know your voice, but with the collaborations and the different kind of dynamics, I was listening to Scars today and I was like, this is a fucking banging tune. Like I really am enjoying this. And then it went so heavy, it felt like a fucking Deftones track, like the end of like something Chino would sing with the really heavy drop guitar. And I was like, I was never imagined the song to take me there. And I think
Yeah.
that's so good because most music at the moment is quite predictable. You know what you're going to get. And I love the fact that the journey you're taking people on is all over the shop.
Yeah, man. I think that's the best. I don't know. It's like, I guess we are that, we are in the age of music. We've been influenced by so much music that, it's almost like how much can you put in one like 3 to 4 minute track?
Yeah,
So, and then finding that kind of balance within the nuance I guess a skill in itself because you have to learn how to make it palatable and, not just so far experimental that it doesn't really have it doesn't really have legs to stand on before you even get started, but just enough sprinkle with everything that you love that there's something to pull someone in somewhere. And that's what I enjoy about Scars, especially, is that it is quite an eclectic song in the sense of like it goes through multitudes of like sounds, which is nice. And
massively.
I like it. It's like, I guess that's I call Scars like a sister track to one of my songs I did a while ago called In the Dark,
Yeah.
because they're kind of similar but they're like both so parallel. It's just, it's kind of cool. I love Scars. Scars is a good song. Like I learned to love a lot of the songs again, which is why I enjoy even speaking about them again.
Scars is my favorite track on the album so far, but
That's nice to hear because
yeah.
it's not a lot of people's favorite songs, and it's because it's longer. Sometimes it's hard to have people interested for long.
Well, that's just the new generation. People just want a fucking TikTok 30-second
Yeah,
video and that's it. So I'm older, I'm 42, so I'm like, play me the whole song. I like an album.
yeah.
I've got more patience. But I think there's this really good time at the moment in the scene, and as you rap and as you've got these other artists out there like Bob Vylan, Denzel Curry, you can play these festivals alongside bands like Korn, and bands like Limp Bizkit and Deftones, and the audience isn't divided where it's like, oh, I don't want to watch a fucking rapper. It can all kind of blend together, and I love the fact that at Reading recently, Denzel Curry's there, and Prodigy and Blink 182, and people are just enjoying music instead of having this kind of arrogance that you can only like one sort of genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are, like I said, we are that generation that has grown up on the mashups
Yeah,
more so than ever. So it is normal to us, like obviously early times, having, being in alt culture, it was easier target for food, like because you just like, I don't know, something about it just wasn't kind of mixing yet. But in later on times, it's like, you go into a festival and someone's running across the field to catch Blink and probably go catch Dave or some shit.
yeah.
you know, and it's like kind of normal. And you'd rather than you don't really spew your nose up anymore. More people are open to saying they enjoy rock than ever. You know, for some reason when you were younger, it was such a taboo thing. Not to most people, but just the way street culture becomes so prominent in like London and so on. It was, you know, saying you're the outcast by not listening to the street music it was harder. So it's nice to see such a varied response to, you know, the way times are moving, and also bringing new people into rock music by making it in a way that's palatable for them. If you're not been exposed to, you know, the ferocity and the absolute tribal nature of down-tuned guitars, etc., you know.
Yeah. So when you're sitting there and you're in the studio and you're working with these producers and you're getting a flavour of kind of how the album's shaping up with Songs for the Living and Songs for the Dead, were you conscious of, once they're being recorded, how you're then going to play them live and kind of give it that kind of power? Because you could sit there and do 3 or 4 guitar takes, overdub it, produce it, polish it, make it sound fucking huge. But then when it comes to going on tour or playing shows, it's not easy, is it, to get those songs to live up to that sound sometimes? So have you always kind of kept that in your mind when writing and recording? Like, we don't want it to be too overproduced that we then fall flat when we play live?
No, because I think when I first started, a lot, you know, coming from where I've come from and have to be, you know, be thrown in the deep end of touring, I had to learn to adapt my shows to the crowds I'm playing. So I
Yeah.
took my songs, kind of broke them apart and made heavier versions of the MP3s. Because I was like, I'll be damned if I'm standing on this stage with a, you know what I mean, like with a DJ or some shit. Like, you know, not there's nothing wrong with it, but just not in where I am trying to take it. So, and obviously I've gone through the beginning stages of doing that and learning how to orchestrate a band and so on, so on. But you know, I took a lot of my songs and broke them into live versions of them, and so just so I could be able to play them. And now, obviously, when you get bigger and you get better, you learn to put all your production value into your new rig, etc. So it's just been a slow evolution, which has kind of been really good for me because live is where I get to really show people the identity of this shit.
Yeah. I mean, the feedback and the talk after 2000 Trees this year was genuinely. I heard your name mentioned so much over the weekend. Everyone was saying you were one of the sets of the weekend, and
I heard that too, and it was kind of surreal. And I was like,
yeah,
and we was on the smallest stage. So it's like for it to travel so far.
wasn't it the Forest stage
Yeah.
where? I mean, that I got to be with Frank Turner and do like an acoustic live podcast on there, and I just felt there was something really magical about it. It wasn't the main stage; it was out of the way, but it was a kind of like a little secret, but it's still busy. And looking out looked absolutely rammed. And I just thought there's something really, I don't know, good for the soul about being in the middle of the woods. It felt really
Oh,
fucking special.
earthed, literally
Yeah,
feet planted to the ground, man. So, you know what I mean? Like just pure energy. So it's, you know, and yeah, it's nice. And it was just nice to even hear that myself. Like I saw so many comments. I saw groups, like official 2000 groups of just like, yo, kid. And I was just like, okay. And especially like from, I know it's funny. It wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like my greatest set. It wasn't like I was singing the best I've ever sung. I had, if anything, I was fucking had a eight. I was like 10 spliffs deep and a beer before I played, but hitting some notes was a struggle. But no one cared. It transcended beyond perfection, which was nice. And I guess that's and again, that was all you're here for. It's just to prove to people like, what the fuck do you think I am? Like, why am I always shunted into a corner like I can't stand next to the biggest and rock a crowd? Because I do it. I did an arena tour with Ipra Val and
yeah.
smacked 7,000 people most nights and commanded it, you know, because I love it and I've learned from the best and I still continue to do.
So with I Prevail, I've had them on the podcast, and they're some of the nicest guys out there, like real fucking genuine people.
Shout out
And
Brian, shout out fucking Eric.
yeah, all day long. And when you open for them, what's going through your mind? Are you there? Because you know, with full respect, everyone's there to see I Prevail. So are
Oh
you
yeah,
kind of
100%.
thinking, I've got my 25 minutes to kind of win some people over and hope they leave tonight and say, that guy went on, that Kid Bookie, I'm going to fucking check him out. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the precedence that we took and I guess brought to fruition. You know, you do have a small portion of people that are obviously coming to see Arbor Val, but know lots of your songs and wearing your
Yeah.
merch or whatever. So it's nice to see that when you are in different territories. And it's also a nice challenge to have people not know who the fuck you are and leave with people like saying this was the best set of the day. Like, you know, and it's like, okay, that's dope because, you know, we don't have what everyone else has. So we have to go so fucking hard all the time. But that's just what, I don't know, we're just so used to it because we do come from the fucking dirt. Like there's nothing was handed to us. And we're kind of like used to just kind of having to go so far above that you almost die and suffocate because you just head out the clouds, you know?
Is it exhausting? Do you kind of feel like you always got a battle ahead of you? The hurdles are getting higher each time, or
Yeah,
does it feel better that each time you get over one, you're like, fucking bring on the next one?
yeah, it's both and both. They're both hand in hand, very linear in
Yeah,
a trajectory because every time you do it, it's another win, but it's also like, you know, skewed perception. For example, you know, I've just been the cover star for Kerrang.
yeah,
If you know, I don't know what a traditional rock artist looks like today. Like if you was to say, draw me the rock
yeah.
star, it's not Chad Croggy anymore. You know, it's not Slash. It's,
No.
you know, and like everything evolves. Same way I was also talking about hip hop. It's not Eric B and Rakim with a massive high top and a clock. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, everything sort of have evolved. So I guess that's what I sometimes have. People don't know me, they'll see my face, they'll see, yeah, I might wear my tight trousers with my big boots and my levers and shit like that. But maybe because I don't, and I hate this shit. Not that I hate it, because it's like I never see myself as a persecuted victim of life, no matter if anybody tries to put it upon me. But maybe it's because I am not like the long blonde hair dude that looks like a typical rock star, that when I am in the cover and I see people like, what the fuck is this hip hop shit? 50, well, now you're gonna have 50 Cent at download. And I'm thinking, I don't even make music like 50 Cent in any
No.
capacity. So, you know, it's very nuanced and it might be twinged with racism and shit like that. But I also have on the other aspect, I'm like, these people don't know me. And the thing they love is the thing I love too, but I haven't been able to win them over, or they don't have a fucking clue about the fact that I rock with them as hard as they know. So it's like there's it's not just persecution. It's also, I understand your chimp brain goes to one place because I'm able to think within those parallels. But, you know, it also shows me how much work I've got to do. And I'm not saying that I'm always going to win these people over, but it's how much work I have to do to be widely accepted as a rock artist doing the music I love. Like, I have worked with the biggest rock stars in the world. They are actively my friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my family are rock royalty.
Yeah.
I don't like, it doesn't mean like I have to go around and spread that and like, you need to respect me because otherwise, you know, Kelly Osbourne's going to tell you off or some shit. I don't know. But it is like, you know, I don't have to prove myself to anybody that already knows, and most of the people that know already are my kin, etc., etc. But I do sometimes feel like I have this proving ground, which is every artist should. That is like, you know, you have to sway perception, and you have to you have to let people know that you are a part of the cloth that they're trying to wear. I don't know. It's a very weird thing.
Kerrang cover magazine feels like a massive win. Like, I used to buy that magazine with my pocket money when I was a kid and then get the CD on the front and discover new bands. It's the reason I got into bands like Thrice and Deftones and Pearl Jam and Green Day and all these sort of bands. And I was thinking, there must be a moment when you were like, that must have been just a dream, like to be on the front of fucking Kerrang.
Yeah, man. It
It's a
is.
huge deal, dude. It's massive.
Yeah, it is. And I'm slow, like I'm getting to the point where it's like the doubt that's crept into my soul because of the years of like being put down and having to dim yourself,
Yeah.
no longer being a part of my character that has adopted, that I just don't take in things as they should, because I feel if I express the excitement to people around me or close to me that want certain things, I feel like I'm overbearing. I've kind of got out of that. So I am like, fuck, man, that is my dream. Like I am that kid that was in front of the TV putting in the fucking tape recorder, recording Good Charlotte videos, you know?
Yeah.
And now they are some of my closest peers in the game as well. So, you know, I don't take for granted that. It's weird, like everybody, a lot of the people that made me want to do music as a youth and the ones I was idolizing on TV, the ones I was watching their hands when they were playing guitars, like they are all, they're a phone call away on a bad day, and
That's awesome.
they really care about me. They're my friends, and I love them. And but so they've helped me twice, which is crazy because then I don't get. I guess there's so many artists that get to have this experience, of course, but in a way it's weird for me because I am from a weird corner of South London, like next to Woolwich, where it's not the rock central at all. You know what I mean? It's the gutter. It's just grime music and drill, and it has been for the past 30 plus years. And to be able to extend my hand and see the people that have made me want to exist in this place to change it for the better are my peers in it. And it means a lot to me to have that more because of where I come from and the fact that I shouldn't even know them. Should never know them. I should
No.
never have Kelly trying to make me and Youngblood do a song. You know what I mean? Because she loves us both. Or having Sid Wilson come to my house and we just kick it all night watching animal videos, smoking shitload, inviting me over to everywhere I have to go in this fucking planet, and and helping me. Like, there's so much more to this. It's stupid. So, and I guess that part of me having that does make me have this massive drive to want to be like, I gotta go so fucking hard just so I can repay this debt that none of them know exists because I created it, but to make sure that I can, I do as good as I can in this culture that you have helped shape as well, to add my cloth of DNA to it, and just make it have my little corner of history to make it, I don't know. Well, I do know, but you know what I'm saying.
Of course, and I think that must feel like every time you get one of those victories, it must feel like an extra pat on the back because you've had to battle or fight or do it a lot harder than the average person out there.
Yeah, it does, and I guess but it's weird because it's like it creates this complex, like this like puff chest complex where do I have to look for like, okay, do I want the validation from my peers to let this thing know that I've done is really cool, and if I don't do that, then I kind of feel sad, or the strangers that see the achievement and I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing, and like, oh shit, that's dope. I guess I should recognize that. But, well, then ultimately none of that matters because it's about me. And then now I've had to learn that I fucking love that shit. It doesn't matter about any fucking person. If no matter if my mom or someone didn't give a fuck. I'm not saying she doesn't. She didn't fuck it. If anything, my mom's like the biggest fan. But
I hope she likes the album, yeah.
yeah, I think she does. I think she does. I haven't actually spoke to her about it. But it's been so much battling of like trying to prove myself in my peer crowd. And I don't mean the extended peers I've met through music, but I mean
No.
the ones that you've come around with, and dynamics change because of where you end up going, and relationships and this and other. So it's like it's sometimes weird. I was like kept saying music has ruined my life recently, and I shouldn't have ever said that because it has made my life so much better. I was just in a bad place, and it was just like kept feeling like I'm losing everything and everyone because of this pursuit of well, I don't even know what to say the pursuit of. There's always a pause because it's not for stardom, it's not for success, it's not for anything. I never pursued it for any of the things that come with it. So when they do happen and people expect me to be this type of way, I'm not that way because it was never like my goal is to be the famous rock star that gets to have the jester card. Even though I kind of get the jester card because people know I'm a fucking bit of a wild card, so I can just kind of swing my penis as much as I can sometimes. Yeah, don't abuse that shit, So
So what are the goals? Because you can't tell me you've got no goals, because otherwise you wouldn't get up every day and do what you do.
no, I've got the goals. Like, and my big, like, I think I've put so many goals into the world. I subconsciously still chase them. Like, one of them was just like, putting your ethos, your way of thinking into each corner of the world to try and change certain ways of thought and let people practice thought away from the parameters of or the limit of thinking they already have, to know that there is more to think about than what you already are taught to think. And I don't know, I'm that type of dude. I'm always like, there is more synapses to gravitate to. There's more flickers to get to keep going. It's like the thought doesn't just, and I know that can be a deep hole of thought, but talking within rationale, but like, the barriers that we kind of put up for ourselves that we have to mentally hurdle. And I just like being, I guess, I just kind of like being in that muse to just kind of recklessly ramble, because within that subconscious stream of thought is sometimes like, well, most of the times truthful sentiments that as humans going through the shared human experience, we all relate to. And I like having no filter, saying what kind of comes to my head and putting it out there, challenging just general status quo I'm probably doing it to the day I die, and it may also if it kills me. So
If I told you 2 years ago you'd be signed to Marshall Records with people like the Nova Twins, you'd be on the front of Kerrang, you'd be playing 2000 Trees and be tipped as one of the best acts there, you would have told me to fuck off, surely.
I would have, well, yeah, because I still kind of tell people to fuck off now because I don't believe. I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, but I think I am adopting it. I am like, I guess it's because it's so heavy, you're so busy, the scheduling, you got to do this, you got to do that. You always have to be in a right frame of mind, even if you are not in the right frame of mind. And I guess that's what's hard, especially when in an industry like music where you are the poster boy to being something. You have to be the person that has to be smiling at the things and doing this and doing that. And it's not like a woe is me thing. It's a beautiful experience to be able to have all of these conversations and speak so vividly about things and passionately and more in depth than just like surface level crap. But I guess as humans battling this everyday new changing world, and you kind of sometimes like, you also sometimes feel so defeated by the thing you're chasing because I'm still trying to battle my way into, into the conversation more because I sometimes still feel like I am not, and I wouldn't say respected. I don't want to say that because I hate using these words, but I'm not fond of but not myself, but other people are not fond of because I don't think they still understand that I'm not just like rapper.
No.
There's this like, what I mean? I can sing you an acoustic ballad if you want to. I can, there is a show, we're doing this stuff, and it's like, I'm still battling to be in the conversation in a way that it aids me to the next level. Because I do think sometimes I'm hindered by the perceived notion that others want to place upon me other than what I am and what I put out there, I guess.
Have you got a battle to change people's perceptions, knowing that if there's a photo of Chino from Deftones, Kurt Cobain, and you, instantly everyone's going to think, yeah, he's the rapper. It's going to be just pure like R&B or rap music. But you could and you will and you have sounded like both Deftones and Nirvana. So is it like I've got a fucking battle here because instantly people are just too judgmental and just judge the book by the cover when the actual book is going to blow your mind and have good Charlotte style riffs, Offspring, Deftones, real fucking heavy metal with a mixed bag of everything you've grown up on. Like I think people are very quick to judge, aren't they? Like you said, by just a picture.
Yeah, and I think if it would like if you put Lenny Kravitz on the cover, you know what Lenny does.
Yeah.
And I know Lenny's had to maybe possibly overcome certain things. So but you already know what you're getting when you look at Lenny Kravitz, and maybe it's because he does. He's going to come on the cover with this cut sleeve leather jacket thing or whatever. And some days I might, but there's some days I might be doing other shit.
Yeah.
But I guess. That's what I want. I want to be able to be perceived in the way it should be perceived, rather than but I'm not in control of that. I'm only in control of how much I can do, well, to a degree, and to change perception, which is also a fun battle because it's something I've had to do. I'm no stranger to it, and I'm not bored of it. I guess the hurdle is just that, when it comes to maybe wanting people to come to shows to experience something, it's like I have to have either word of mouth or you have to see it live rather than looking at me and going, I thought you was going to be with a DJ. And I'm like, wrong, right? So and I'm thinking, well, what any part of my music thinks is there a DJ? Like, I don't know. So
What's going to be next then? So obviously the album comes out, people then start to really discover you, hear these tracks, hear the producers, hear the collaborations and get an idea of the flavor. Are you then thinking next summer go back to festivals like 2000 Trees and really kind of work your way up like people have done, that there's rappers and there's artists that have gone there, Bob Dylan especially, that are now on the main stage? Is that kind of your right, I've got the opportunity, the audience is definitely negotiable and will listen to new acts, and I want that chance to show that I should be up there as well.
yeah, sure. Like thing is, I have to do the circuit. Like I don't expect it all because of any affiliation or I have a good agent or I have this, I have that. Like I've been willing and waiting to work my way on this circuit for a long time. Like I said, the battle is sometimes even people in the circuit probably not having an idea that I can kill the circuit. But I think it's changing. I have left a little sour, well, a taste in a lot of people's mouths recently with just word of mouth of the fact that I can deliver on these
Yeah.
shows that you're putting on in the same way that all the bands that you're doing, and if I want to talk my own horn, sometimes I feel better. So, it's just go back, make better music, get it going in a way again, and just be better. Like everything has to be better every time, like challenge myself musically, challenging my own skill, like what is talent, and just going back into it again. I've gone through new experiences. I've understood the experience I'm going through. I know how to tailor myself better during this process. And that's what I'm looking forward to for the next one.
My final kind of question for you today, and what I love to do on this podcast, I remember asking you this question actually at 2000 Trees, but it gives you another opportunity to add another kind of layer. I like you to choose the last track that's played. It can be by anyone in the world. You probably remember doing this in July, but this time you get another go at it. And I was wondering if there's a song that means a lot to you in your heart that you want played at the end of today after we've done this interview.
My Way by Frank Sinatra,
Yeah.
because before you die and as you get older, you realize there's no other way other than yours. So you just have to follow gut and do it your way.
It's such a fucking epic song as well. Like the build up, you never expect it to get to where it goes, and it's crazy, isn't it? It's fucking like you listen, you get emotional listening to that because you're like,
Yeah, honestly, it's stupid, that song. I was nearly crying to it on the way home. It's
yeah,
incredible.
it's an absolute anthem. But what I do want to say is I'm really looking forward to people hearing this album because when you sign to Marshall Records, I think that automatically seals that you get an approval. If you look at the artists on there and the history of that, it's a huge thing, and that's a win for you. But you've got the music to back it up, and I've been listening to the album. Harris sent me across the album like an advanced copy, so I've been able to listen to it for a couple of weeks, and I've just been having it on from start to finish. And it really is something special. Like it's
Thank
so
you.
fucking powerful, and I really can't wait for people to kind of fall in love with it.
Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. And I guess it's nice to not be so skeptical at the idea that people do like it, that maybe I am the thing that people are saying, and it's nice. So
It's tough, isn't it? Because in this world, if someone says to me, "Oh, I love your interview you did the other day with Incubus," I'm like, "Oh, thanks," but in my head, I'm like, "No, it wasn't good enough," or "I want
yeah,
to do better," and I want it to have 10 million downloads. I want it to be on Rolling Stone magazine. But that person's taken the time to listen. They've enjoyed it, and they felt the need to tell me. So I have to kind of sometimes remind myself to push pause, take a step back, and go, "There's a million podcasts out there, and that guy's chose to tell me he enjoyed it." So if you're releasing music and it's so hard to get lost on Spotify with the streaming world out there, but I've listened to your album and I listen to albums all the time I get sent them. It's probably one of my albums of the year. It's fucking great, and I can't wait for people to really kind of dig deep and spend some time digesting it and hearing those lyrics properly and the production and everything. It's something really fucking unique. You don't
thank you.
sound like anyone else out there.
And that's, I guess, the gift and the curse in the way that, you want to have your identity, but you also don't want to be so far anonymous in a way that no one can I don't know.
It's a
So
difficult one, yeah.
yeah, but I'm also the most proud of that fact. So it means
Yeah.
a lot to me it means a lot to me to hear, and a lot to, inspiration, and just to, like, a little bit of gas in the tank to go forward again, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in a good place mentally. I think so, but I guess, yeah, just excited for the next chapter. Just
Less than 2 weeks, man. The album's out. It's going to be good. It's exciting.
shit. Can't wait to do the little in-store tour that I'm doing and just pushing that shit out, man. So everyone, if you give a fuck, let's get cute. Let's give a fuck for a long time, because we've only got about 50 years for anyone to care. So let's do it.
And when you're doing the proper full show and it's all announced and everything's out there, I'll come down and we'll say hello again.
Can't wait, man. Thank you very much.
So there it is. There's my interview with me and Kid Bookie. An amazing guy, such a talent, a great songwriter, and has the world at his feet. On the cover of Kerrang! His brand new album is unbelievable and is out tomorrow, so go and listen to it. Go and listen to all of his other work. You'll be so impressed, and go and see him whenever he's playing anywhere near you, because you will not be let down. I think the guy's got a massive future ahead of him, a future main stager easily at 2000 Trees and other festivals in the UK, and my God, I've just loved having him on the podcast. I want to say a massive thanks to Harris from Marshall for setting this interview up. This guy's an absolute legend, and me and him have been working together for years, and he's just an unbelievable human being, so thank you, Harris. Also, a massive thanks obviously to Kid Bookie for taking the time to come on the podcast, and also thanks to Richer Sounds, the sponsor of the podcast. Without those guys, I wouldn't be able to do this podcast each and every month, so a massive thanks. And as always, guys, if you're looking to go and listen to Kid Bookie's new album on vinyl or CD, go and buy some equipment from Richer Sounds. You will not regret it. And also, guys, if you've enjoyed today's episode and you're listening right now, why not just hit that share button on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and get the word out there. Let's get more people jumping on board with Mark and me and spreading the word, because that is something that money can't buy, and I really appreciate each and every retweet or share or Instagram like or whatever you do to spread the word. I see it all and it goes a real long way. And finally, if you want to support the podcast on just that extra little bit, I do have a Patreon. It means so much to me when people sign up on there because I don't make money from it. I take all the money, put it into a pot, and that basically allows me to go around the country and interview guys for you guys at home. Not only that, I get to host the podcast on all these different directories, and that costs a hell of a lot of money, you wouldn't believe. And all the other things it costs to do the podcast, but I don't make any money myself, and I make sure it all goes right back into the podcast. Right, it's been a hectic week. You've had 3 episodes, and I'm going to end the week with one more episode for you very soon, and it's a huge one. One of the guests that I've been chasing now for over 5 years, but it's finally happened, and I can't wait to share it with you. So, until then, please keep on listening to Mark and me. Go and listen to the new Kid Bookie album. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you all very soon.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my Yes, it was my